Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. Yeah, let's try and see if I don't screw this up royally. Can everyone hear me? Is the sound fine? So let's see. Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, so I want to talk about um, Cape Independence basically, and my issue with what I have so far with that. Really, the issue is I'm not seeing anyone trying to do something very different from what we're currently seeing in South Africa and the South African politics right now. No one so far has come forth to basically uh, initiate an idea on a Bill of Rights, a new constitution, um, and so on and so forth. So really, let's take a look at that. Yeah. So one of the guys that I actually talk to a lot on social media sent me an email in where he raises concerns as well, and I think he and I are very much aligned to that uh, in regards to that. So uh, for those that don't know, the groups are the Cape Exit, United Liberty Alliance, um, and also Cape Party and Cape Independence. Now, the only group so far that came forward to say that they might consider a Bill of Rights or will consider a Bill of Rights is the Cape Independence Advocacy Group, headed by Phil Craig, or perhaps he's the spokesperson of that. But when this person that I talked to on social media approached him, for example, and asked him for a rough draft or anything like that, and I'm going to quote now what Phil Craig said here. He said to this friend, "It's a bit premature, but it will eventually be done through political negotiations, and an interim government and elections will be held. They still need to see how the land lies and what the electoral wants." So there's no real difference so far from what we see. Everybody is trying to copy and paste the South African Constitution and Bill of Rights, which I think is very flawed, into their own sort of movement. The whole purpose of an independent Cape Town, or an independent Cape Republic, if you will, is to try and do things a lot differently from what we currently have. You can't expect to, copy a flawed constitution or a constitution that does not protect your individual liberties and rights and freedoms, and then expect a good result to come from that. So that's one problem that I have with that. It's just a carbon copy and paste of what we're currently seeing. So for a Bill of Rights to actually come forward, is the first thing that we need to establish is that certain things must be transcendent. And this is now where the difficulty comes in. So in this now, I've got a few definitions. So transcendence for me is a state of being or existence above and beyond the limits of material experience. So one of these things, for example, would be truth, right? So truth for me would be transcendent. It wouldn't be something that you can just change and subject to emotions. Truth is unchanging. It is everlasting. You could say, well, up until the universe dies. But you get where I'm going with this. And this transcendent natures that we need to capture within a Bill of Rights needs to be endowed on the individuals, meaning it has to be inherited by the individual through their nature. Um, Yeah, we can probably copy and paste the US Constitution, but there's an issue with that as well. I don't think they go far enough with explaining the individual rights. Um, so yeah, for example, another problem that I have with the US Constitution is, for example, the line that every individual has the freedom of speech, or the freedom of speech. The problem that I have there is with the word the. It means that it is given to them through the Bill of Rights. It's not endowed by them through this transcendent truth that we're going to try and establish. So for me, it would have been better put to have freedom of expression or freedom of speech, because no one can actually give that to you, but you can willingly give that up, um, which I would also not advise at all. So yeah, so that's the first thing that I think these advocacy groups need to. Yes, and we also need a second amendment, but we do need to have a talk with these independent groups, for example, because they have not come forward to establish a good Bill of Rights. Second to that is the protect. Yeah. Second to that is, for example, your self-protection. Like from Africa just pointed out, we do need a second amendment of sorts, a sort of way of saying to government, stuff you, we will, be permitted to bear arms, if you will. And I think there the American Constitution is far, far more advanced than any other nation's constitution that I know of, probably because it's the most popular one. I'm sure there are other countries that have very similar, if not equally impressive, second amendments or second freedoms expressed. Now, the other problem with that is the Bill of Rights would need to be separate from the Constitution, right? So the purpose of the Bill of Rights, for me at least, is to outline certain rights that individuals will have and limit the amounts or the changes that an individual can make to another individual's rights. In other words, as little as possible, meaning zero. It should not be up for debate. It should not be up for vote. No individual right should be subject to a majority vote. That's my opinion on that. So, for example, the right to private property, expropriation without compensation under a Bill of Rights should not even be considered. It should just be thrown out, for example. So a Bill of Rights is there to express the rights, but also to limit what people can change. Then you will need a separate constitution based on the Bill of Rights, which then dictates to government what they can and cannot do, right? This would include making laws. This would include how to govern, taxation, everything like that. So yeah, those are my thoughts so far on the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. But a more pressing concern that I see is that no one is really taking into consideration that, the ANC or the government would try to take a violent step towards those that seek independence. And that's another concern that I have with this movement. It's taking the presupposition that government will just peacefully allow them to secede. You can't. Okay, Kevin logic, cool. But no one can argue that no government will just peacefully allow another portion or area of it to secede without a struggle. And the history, unfortunately, of the ANC and Africa at large is that of violence. So we cannot take that chance. That's my position. A plan has to be made for armed resistance. We don't want to talk about it, especially myself as a libertarian. I do not advocate any armed struggle, but that is a reality that we need to stare into the face. So I'm not seeing any sort of movements there. I'm not seeing them going overseas, trying to make alliances, trying to get people to actually acknowledge the legitimacy of their movements. Of course, you would need the referendum to do that. So my advice would be, let's start with that. Let's hold the referendum. Let's see where people lie. Where, do they want independence of South Africa? Do they not want independence of South Africa? And let's say that they do want independence of South Africa. Before you move then to Parliament, you go overseas and you get international traction, you get international acknowledgement, and you get alliances built. Because you do not have troops currently legally on this territory. Any troops that you place can be seen as an attempt to a coup. So you want to avoid that entirely. So that's why you need international recognition, you need international allies. If agreements are struck, and the moment that agreements are signed and all of that, that's when you approach Parliament. The moment that you do that, you would need to be able to defend your borders. So that's another concern that I have. See, independence yeah, we can probably edit the parts that I don't like, but yeah, that's not gonna fly because there are still flaws within the Constitution. The Constitution, for example, sorry, I'm just going logic, I'm jumping here, is that it rather protects the groups as opposed to the individual, right? So it's very skewed to the group, not so much the individual. We can already see something like that within our parliamentary processions, where two-third majority can actually vote on your rights and your liberties and so on. So no, I don't think a simple edit would do that. I just think that a total rewrite wouldn't be required with a sort of idea already of what you want to achieve with this independence, if that makes sense. Let's see. Yeah, so on border defense then, because you will need your allies to defend your borders, right? Because, like I said, you have no troops. And that's about all that I have so far on my concerns. I want to talk to that friend of mine, maybe get him to publish his article or his piece that he's writing. Once he's done with that, I will link that. If you've got any questions, please ask them. If you liked this, because I'm not too comfortable yet with these live streams, so I would like any feedback or any such things as well. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, subscribe if you are interested in this topic, and yeah, let's see where it goes. All right. So any questions so far? Anything I need to clear out? Or do you guys think I may need to approach Phil Craig with this, or any one of the other independent groups? Yeah, I'm sure, Beth. But you're talking to someone with a fear of the microphone here. So yeah, yeah. Thanks. I will definitely do that. Okay, yeah. So then I will send an email to them and try and approach them in that manner. Hopefully, yeah. Thanks, Sif. I know it's very hard with that because you've already tried. But yeah, I do lost connection. Um, all right. I was saying that here's the thing. No one so far has drafted a Bill of Rights so far, and therein lies the issue. Well, the biggest swinging dick right now, I probably think, is the Cape Independence Advocacy Group. Uh, yeah, but anyway, like I said, from your Bill of Rights, you will write a Declaration of Independence, because therein you're going to express what you believe is the issue. You can look at the American history, as you also pointed out. They first had an idea of a Bill of Rights before they actually had a Declaration of Independence, which they then submitted to England for scrutiny. Obviously, the English made a mockery of that, but we all know how that went. Um, no, dude, I can't put off Pornhub. Who else is going to watch the stream then? But yeah, uh, yes. So that is the issue that I currently have with him. I think Civ also has that very same issue. Uh, I am going, like I said, I'm going to ask him to publish that once he's done with it, and I will send it through to you guys. In the meantime, I'm also going to take Kevin's advice. I'm going to look at what is exactly bothering me of that, and then tell you why I've got an issue with that. But I do believe that we already had a sort of quick discussion, so I'm just going to draw from that in the past on social media. Yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. I hope you guys have a, yeah, yes, that will be Civ, Kevin. That would be Civ. I'm drawing a lot on his work as well, because I like it because he's very succinct and he is straight to the point. But anyway, guys, that's about it. Uh, yeah, any other questions, you can feel free to leave it in the comments below. And please share this. Cheers.